أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. Assalamu alaikum jameen wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for registering and attending this webinar. We have to start on time because namaz time is about 8:50, so I don't want to delay. And that's why we like to finish before namaz now. So I hope that people are going to join. So we have four main parts, four main sections, but depending how much time we have, the first, of course, is preparations for Hajj as you are preparing before you leave for your trip. Then, of course, we'll discuss about Medina, then Makkah, and of course, finally, any question answers. Yes, so we'll be doing those things, inshallah. Let's get going. What I'll do that I will pause after 2-3 slides if there are any questions. Otherwise, you can also put in chat your questions, inshallah. Try to check the chat and I'll answer, inshallah. So this is the ayat. I'm sure all of you, those who are preparing for Hajj, you must have come across this ayat as you are reading the material. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا. Allah says, pilgrimage to the house of Allah is a duty unto all people, other nasis, everyone who is, of course, no, manistata ilayhi sabila. Of course, the most important is sita, affordability. You can afford to go there, your health is okay, there are no other kind of obstacles which come in the way. And besides of affordability, if you are the one who are supporting your family, it also includes that you take care of your family. Just a moment, 1 minute, I'll just join you. I'm in the class. My class is going on. Sorry for that. Yeah, okay. So it is, when we say affordability, it is not only that what you can go for the Hajj and affordability, but if you are the one who takes care of the family, you are the supporter, you are the provider, then also you are supposed to take care of people who are, you are living behind in your home. So make sure that you can leave enough provision for them, that there should not be a kind of problem. Of course, here al-Bayt we say it refers to the Kaaba, which is cubical structure in Makkah. Everybody, all Mufassirin agreed that this Hajjul Bayti, this Bayt is Kaaba, Baytullah, it's also known as Baytullah. Hajj is, of course, essential pillars of Islamic devotion, as you know, both Shias and Sunnis believe. Now, it requires going to Makkah, which was in Hijaz, but nowadays it is in Saudi Arabia, and we spend a few days there, specific days. Of course, every Muslim who is financially and physically able to make the pilgrimage must go to Makkah once in his lifetime. Of course, you can go more, but once in a lifetime. Most Muslims who go to Makkah, in fact, visit Medina. Not only the Prophet has said that the person who comes all the way to Makkah and will not visit me has disappointed me. So keep in mind that we do go to Medina and Makkah. Now, of course, based on my own experience, I have been to Hajj, alhamdulillah, many times. In fact, I was in Umrah only last month. So this is fresh. I'll try to share with you some of the experiences. So based on my experience, many people go to Medina first, which is a good thing. Although there's nothing wrong. You can also go to Makkah first. Also, you just land in Jeddah, go to Miqat and Rafah, and then just get your Talbiyah and everything done and come to Makkah. Or people go to Medina, finish the ziyarat, goes to Masjid Shajara, and from there they start the Hajj. Okay. So these are some of the points we try to go. Why prepare for Hajj? People sometimes say this thing that oh, I'm going to go with a caravan. My caravan is going to take care of everything. No, we are making a mistake. Alhamdulillah, I have been to Hajj many times. And every time I go for Hajj, God is a witness. And before that, I would prepare. Not only prepare physically, for example, to keep the bag ready, or for example, take the meningitis shots, or get the visa. Those of course are required, right? But even spiritual, preparing, for example, reading the material, reading things which are required, listening to the good lectures, it has really helped me. It prepares, So it is important. Don't think that, no, since you'll be with a group or some, even for example, with an alim, so you take it light. No, prepare yourself. The better you prepare, the more you prepare, the better you are prepared there, you will like it more, inshallah. Now we'll discuss about some of the needs to be required before we prepare. Some of the things which are essential for the trip, right? Ziyarah of Medina is significant and what we recite there. I always say that, no, make sure that although you are traveling, but because you are going to spend a lot of time in the Haram, both in Mecca and Medina, and you go early in the morning, this is the best time to make sure that you don't miss out on Hajj Salah. Okay, it's very important that Namaz Shab should not miss out, especially during the time. Now, what are the spiritual benefits of Ziyarat and Umrah? We'll try to discuss, and some of the zikr which we need to learn during this time. Yeah, and basic laws of Umrah Tamattu, and any questions and answers we'll discuss. So here is it. Before your departure, just now, for example, many of you, I think, are living, I was told people are living beginning 26th of May. People start living, right, 26th of May, and then onwards. So before you there, of course, have the mental and spiritual preparedness, that you are not only prepared physically, but mentally and spiritually. Mentally, in the sense, for example, you should not have any kind of tensions behind. Don't leave any kind of things behind that, no, okay, I'll go there and then I'll take care of there. No, don't do that. Here, for example, make sure that your family is provided for, your business is taken care of, your work has been taken care of, your things, car, everything. Don't say that, no, when I go there nowadays, WhatsApp is there, I'll do it. No. Once you are there, my personal advice to all of those who are coming, right? Those who listen to this thing, just try not to use WhatsApp a lot. Now, keep a phone aside. You just use phone for local, just as you have to contact somebody in your kafila or your family member, that's all. To call back family, I don't think is advisable. It will just distract you. This is the time, give your time to yourself and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To yourself, that means for your spiritual preparedness, and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything else should be just left aside. Okay, so mentally prepared and spiritually prepared. Keep your will and testament ready. It is, of course, mustahab to have your will every day ready before you go to sleep, but more so when you go for Hajj, okay? So there is a book, Writing Islamic Will by Maulana Rizvi, 7th edition, or for example, even if you go to his website, there's a lot of discussion there. There are webinars there are question answers. You can also, for example, send your information and they will send you information about the will. So you can do that, there is already. Free yourself from people's rights. This is the best opportunity. When you work with people, when you come across them, sometimes people get disappointed, they get upset, they didn't like what you did, what you said, right? This happens in life, right? Always. That when you live with people, there can be frictions, conflict. This happens. Now nobody is perfect. But this is the best opportunity that I am on my way to Hajj. I worked with you. We lived together. We traveled together. We commuting together. Whatever it is, right? I might have said certain things. I might have done some things. Please forgive me. I'm going for Hajj. I have forgiven you, forgive me. So this is the best opportunity. 9 out of 10 people will say, okay, good, no, I forgive you. Have a good trip. Please remember me in dua, right? Then maybe one or two people will say, no, I don't forgive you. Then say, okay, what can I do that you forgive me? I would like to go there, with a very clear, heart and clear, slate. So this is the best time, right? Read good religious literature. There is, mashallah, because in this day and age, when it comes to literature, lectures, there are so many. Only it requires your time and dedication. There are so much. When I prepare for my webinars, I have so much in front of me how to select. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I was preparing all this, as I was preparing slides, I brought all the books I have in my collection. So then I had to just take 4 more most important books and just add extra slides, from the previous slide. So it is important that we, read good religious literature and listen to good lectures. And they're available, mashallah, online. Ensure to arrange support for your department. As you said, that if your dependents, your family members who depend on you, then make sure that you've made arrangements. Or if you are running an office, you are a manager, or if you are running business, you're taken care of. You should not be disturbed during those 10 days. Nowadays, the Hajj is only 10 days. Imagine there was a time it was 2 months, 3 months, now only 10 days. Now, because things have become so expensive, people just go there and come back, right? So those 10 days, make sure that you are not distracted at all. Just tell the family as if that I'm not available. Simple as that. No, I'm just not available. Only my wife or my son, whoever it is, he's only allowed to contact me. If there's emergency, nobody else. And I mean this thing, honestly. Try to spend your time as much as possible in the haram and just doing ibadat, right? Men folk, yeah, this is important. Those who are first timers, or even not first timers. I, for example, was just in Umrah last month, and I've been to Hajj number of times. I've been to Umrah also number of times. Even then, make sure that you practice wearing ihram. So what you do that at your home, just wear ihram, just walk with it, no, just so that you know that no, you have a control of it, you can take care of it. So try to do this thing. I remember there was a time we went for Hajj some years ago, and there were some people throughout the tawaf. Their only focus was that my haram should not come out. They were just worried about that throughout. No du'as, nothing, no just that was their worry. Oh, what will happen if my haram comes out, right? So this should not be the case. No, just try to learn how to wear haram, practice it, so you're confident as you go there. So this is the zikr. Try to, these are some of the zikr I would advise you, and this slides will be available, inshallah, by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It will be on our website, okay? So you can just download the slides and take with you. But these 3 lines, try to memorize them. And because many of you are from North America, you'll be flying all the way to Jeddah or Istanbul or whatever it is, and then all the way to Jeddah, right? You have a lot of time with you on plane, on board, right? So try to memorize this thing. This is the beautiful dua from one of the imams. I just now don't remember, I think it's the 4th imam. It says, Allahumma al masiri ibra wa samti tafakkura wa kalami dhikra. Do you see this thing? Allahumma al masiri ibra. Oh Allah, make my travel an admonition. So as you are traveling, just look around, look at people who are doing tawaf, those who are wearing ihram, those who are doing ziyarat, those who are saying prayers. Just look around and see what you can learn from them. No, there should be ibrat. No, people, for example, who are so poor. Now you will meet, for example, people from Africa, some of the Asian countries. You will see that he has come for Hajj. He's so old, 60 years, 65 years, 50 years. You ask him why at this age, and he will tell you that no, the entire family was saving for this Hajj. The entire family was saving, and then they decided to send me. And sometimes I was sent from the clan, from the tribe. The whole tribe, could only afford to send one person. So what happened that they put the name in a container, ballot, right, and they just cast. They cast the vote. Just for example, whose name comes out will go, right? So you can imagine, just try to learn ibrat from people. And whenever you are silent, at that time, just do tafakkur. Reflect on Allah's creation. Know how amazing Allah has created, how people are different, how some people are so pious, some are not, how some people are rich. Just try to do tafakkur on Allah's creation, right? But kalam is zikra. And if you open your mouth, then it should be only for zikr. Again, people should not always be talking. I see that sometimes people are chatting all the time. Leave aside your chatting, no? This is the Hajj time. Let's use time for only dhikr or doing tafakkur or just learning lessons, okay? So recite this sentence, and inshallah, this will help you to follow this thing, right? As you go to the haram in Medina, you'll be going to haram, right? This is the sentence you should recite as you are leaving your hotel going towards the haram, right? It's a beautiful sentence. Try to memorize it. Bismillahi wa billahi wa fi sabilillahi. In the name of Allah, Bismillah. Wa billahi, by the grace of Allah, or by the tawfiq of Allah, right? Wa fi sabilillahi, in the way of Allah. No. Wa ala millati Rasulullah. And of course, by the creed of Rasulullah, right? Rabbi gfirli. Oh Allah, forgive me, and forgive my parents, and also forgive the believers. Warhamna, and have mercy on us. Wa tub alayna, and just forgive us, or just do our tawbah, accept our tawbah. Innaka tawwabur rahim. Indeed, you are all forgiving, all merciful. So it's a beautiful dua. You pray for yourself, pray for your parents, and pray for all mu'mineen as you are heading towards the haram. So beautiful, as much as you can. Just recite this thing, and these are very simple. Once you recite, few times, you'll be able to memorize them. It's a beautiful dua, and you can recite it every time you go to the haram, right? This is especially the fourth Imam you cited, this particular line when he went to Umrah. But it is a beautiful line. Fourth Imam also has said this thing. Seventh Imam also has said this thing in Sajda. You can even, for example, memorize it now and start reciting now in your last Sajda. No? in abdika. Oh Allah, the sins of your servant have become enormous. No? in abdika. No? The sins of your servant has become so enormous, it becomes so azim. So it will be gracious of you to pardon. Although my sins are more, but you are gracious, right? So it's a beautiful dua. Memorize this thing and start reciting in your sajda, also namaz sajda at the end. And then by the time you reach there, every time you are just facing Khana Kaaba, just go to sajda and do this thing, right? Try to find a spot that you can see Kaaba. No, it won't be easy, but try to find. No, you will know, for example, which gate to enter, all those things you will learn. Okay? So these are some of the things before you leave. Yeah. Okay, so now as you are on your plane, that was what we did was before you leave. While back in Toronto or New York, wherever you are, no, Vancouver, that is where. Now you are flying off. Okay, so what should you do? As you are flying off to Jeddah or to Medina, wherever you are flying first, right? You need 3 P's. Keep in mind, there are 3 things which we need: prayer, patience, and perseverance, right? You should all have prayers, right? And also patience. So people are there around you. Some people, unfortunately, are not gentle. Sometimes they are rough. Sometimes they are rude. Sometimes they are harsh. Unfortunately, people are of different kind. Or maybe they are not, but that's how we feel, right? Maybe people are good, but we sometimes feel that they are not good. Whatever it is, whether you feel it or they are really like that, try to have patience, okay? And persevere. That as and when you face all these kind of difficulties, just persevere. That you are going for ibadat. Those of you are first timers, then maybe this is the last time you go. Who knows, will again or not. Nowadays, Hajj becomes so expensive. When I did my first Hajj in 1985, it cost less than $2,000. Less than $2,000 in 1983. Sorry, 83. Yeah, right. And then I went in 94. It became about $5,000. No, now I'm told that it's $20,000. You can see, right? So we will not be able to afford Hajj every year because it becomes so difficult, and not only that, it's also become expensive. And also I understand that if you book your ticket visa through Nusuk, then they keep the track. So if you got the visa this year, maybe you won't get Hajj visa next year, provided you prove that yourself to be a leader of the caravan or a helper or a doctor. Otherwise, just as a Haji, they won't allow you, I think, for every 5 years. So keep in mind that who knows when you go again. So try to persevere, okay, in whatever you're doing, don't give up. Recite a lot of zikr, tasbih, and istighfar, right? Memorize the short du'as and read on board. No. Try to get some good materials, some good books, right? We have a lot of books we can suggest later on if you want. You can just take some books. Nowadays, you can also download and just take with you on your tablet and read those books. What short du'as are they beautiful. I know when you fly here, you can watch a movie or documentary. I would advise this is not the time. Okay, you're heading towards a spiritual journey. Forget about these movies and everything, right? Take rest whenever you can. Yeah, this is it. No, the more rest you take now, for example, on plane or when you're going, then you have the strength to keep awake more in Mecca and Medina and Mina and Arafat, right? So then you can spend your time in Ibadat. So it's better that you take rest now. For example, once you are flying, after reading, if there are people who cannot sleep, for example, if you can sleep, then just take rest. By the time when you reach Medina or Jeddah, you are fresh, okay? Okay. Train yourself to be humble. This is important. Tawadu, right? Mutawadi, humble. In Kisari, we say those understand Urdu. Imams used to walk to Mecca for days in hot sun, all the way from Medina, just out of humility. Imagine. We are told Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein walked more than 20 times. They did more than 20 Hajj, 25, 20, more than 20 times they walked, you can imagine, all the way from Medina to Mecca. Imagine, how long it must have taken them, those hot sun, just to show their humility towards Allah. They are going towards Allah's house. So keep that in mind. Let us try to be as humble as possible. So as you are traveling, okay, look at this beautiful hadith, subhanAllah. See what the sixth Imam says. I'll very quickly pause here. You can read yourself. And also after that, if you have any questions, I say that I'm going to pause after a few slides. So this is slide number 6 or 7, right? So just read this hadith. I'm not going to read, you read yourself. And if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can even put in the chat. Okay, so any questions so far? Okay, now let's continue. Now this is it. As you are traveling, especially because we travel from North America to Europe and then to Middle East, or to, for example, we travel to Istanbul, or we travel to Dubai, or some of those points, right, or Doha, and then go onwards to Makkah and Medina. So our flights are long. So most probably what you will find is that the namaz time would enter and end. That means namaz time will begin and end whilst you are still flying, right? So what happens? Can we just say that, oh, I will just do qaza when I reach in Makkah or Medina? In any case, those are holy places. I can do that. No, you cannot do that. We cannot make our namaz qaza. We cannot delay it. No. So look at this hadith, beautiful hadith. See, the sixth Imam says, Hajjatun afdalu min ad-dunya wa ma fiha. A sunnat hajj is better than whatever is in this world, and whatever is this in this world is better than this world and whatever is in there. No? So a sunnat hajj is better than this world and whatever is in this world. All the things, right? And he says, وَصَلَاتٌ فَرِيدَةٌ أَفْضَلُ مِنْ أَلْفِ حَجِّةٍ. And a wajib prayer is better than 1,000 such sunnat hajj. Do you see this thing? So, and I've given you also what references. Hazib al-Hakam, Masail al-Shia, these are renowned books of our hadith. Even scholars use these books to come to their fatwa. So it is a hadith which clearly says that that is about wajib namaz. So make sure that you are going towards Hajj. Let us not start our spiritual journey, our divine trip, holy trip with disobedience. That should not be the case, okay? So don't miss out on this thing when you are traveling. Okay, so then the question comes, do we need to say prayers on board, or we can do qada upon arrival, right? This is the question this comes. No, you can say, if you are scheduled to arrive at your destination early enough to go through your security, perform wudu, try to find Qibla, and find a suitable place to say your prayers, then you're allowed to say your prayers at the destination. Say, for example, you are flying from here to London, right? You leave, let's say, around 2 p.m. You finish your Zohar namaz, and you leave at 2 p.m. No. And then, for example, that's not possible because you're going to London already. But let's say that you go to other place whereby the namaz is going to get qaza later on. No? Or for example, let's say that you leave at night here, okay, after Maghrib prayers, and then you reach there before Fajr, but there's enough time for you to do all those things, that you go through security, you do wuzu, you find Qibla, find a place, then you can say your namaz there. Otherwise, no. You have to say your namaz on board, okay? But of course, the best thing is when the time of namaz comes, you are flying, just say namaz. There's no surety, right? We pray and hope that when we fly, we reach our destination safely. But you know, right? God forbid, there are accidents, there are delays, all these things are possible, right? So why delay? The moment time comes, just say your prayers. Once you follow the requirements of prayers, that namaz is enough. You don't need to, in fact, also repeat your namaz, okay? So keep it. So this is it. You have to say your prayers on board, okay? Now the question comes, what are the essentials? What are the things we need to know very quickly? Of course, say namaz on board, qasr namaz, provided you are taqsir safar, provided this person who is traveling a lot all the time for his work, for his business, then that person is different. Otherwise, all of us will say qasr namaz. Why? Although even you'll say, okay, namaz time entered when I was still just outside Toronto. No, you should know one thing, that when we fly, when you fly, when the plane takes off, right, and then it goes, and when it's stable, then there is a sign that now you can move your belt, right? So that is the time you are going to pray. So by that time, you're already far away from your city, whether you are flying from Toronto, Vancouver, London, Edmonton, whatever your city is, right, that you are already out of your city. So say your qasr. Okay? When traveling, it is advisable to maintain tahara. Yeah. So for example, let's say that your namaz time is going to come soon. Your departure is, say, 2 p.m. No? So it's 2 p.m. and then there was no time for you to say namaz because we were checking in and boarding and everything. So you are going to say namaz soon. So if you can maintain your wudu, taharat of your taharat and wuzu, and also taharat of your body and cloth, do that so that at least you can say namaz. If you think you can't, then you can just perform the wudu online or out on board. So you can perform the wudu on board by using the washroom, for example, or there is also, you can do wudu with a spray bottle. Here is what link. You can just click this link and you'll see that we have shown how to perform wudu with a spray bottle, right? And then of course, fourth thing is make sure that before you say namaz, the time has entered already. Try to find Qibla, right? What we suggest is that there is an app, Halal Trip. Or even, for example, the app, or there is, for example, website, Halal Trip. Go to Halal Trip app, right? Just download that app and then enter your flight details. Where are you going, from which city to which city, and timing. And then once that, and then you just said, find the Qibla and timing once you go to your app. Once you do this thing, and then save those things, those timing Qibla, because once you are flying, you may not have access to Wi-Fi. Okay, you may not have internet. So make sure that once you have got Halal Trip, put your details about your departure and when, at what time you're going, your destination, everything, and try to find the timings on board and Qibla, and save that thing. So that will save on your phone. So keep in mind that if your flight is delayed, then your time of prayer will be delayed accordingly, because you have saved based on assuming that it's going to take one time. Okay. So the timing mentioned in Halal Trip are all fine, except for Maghrib, give another 15 minutes, because these people have namaz time earlier, right? So their Maghrib is at sunset. So you just see Maghrib, give another 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you can say. So those timings are there. You can continue and using that and just say your prayers. Qibla, now, what is it? Okay, how to say prayers? Let's come to it. Finding Qibla on board. So how do you find Qibla? Okay, again, this Halal Trip app will also give you Qibla. That as you are flying at that particular time, your plane is facing towards Qibla or against the Qibla or left or right. So accordingly, you'll find that thing. Okay? Or for example, even some of the airplanes, for example, if you take Emirates, if you take Saudi Airlines, if you take Qatar Airlines, right? These are some of the flights which also give you direction of Qibla. There is on the screen, you can find, they show you. So you can use those, or for example, on your halal trip note app, and you find the Qibla. So once you found the Qibla, it is important that we need Qibla for only once. When you start your namaz, at that time you are supposed to facing Qibla. Once you are saying your namaz, if the plane turns or is no longer towards Qibla, don't worry about it. At the time of when you start your namaz, at that time is Qibla as necessary. Okay, so keep in mind. So if, for example, you are sitting just now, if I'm sitting just now, if this is not towards Qibla, Qibla is here, then although I'll sit on my seat, but I'll just turn here, say Allah Akbar, and do my Qibla, and continue my namaz. Okay, so at the time of Takbiratul Ihram, when you start, you should be facing Qibla. Okay, so this is how to find Qibla and where. Okay, how to say the prayers on board, in the plane. How do you say the prayers? Okay, if possible, observe all qiyam, ruku, sajda, and qud positions, if possible. Now, this is only possible if you are sitting in the exit row or if the designated place. I just now had gone to Umrah and I took a Saudi airline. So in Saudi airline, there is a place. I think even other airlines might have, and maybe Emirates, other planes might have. That designated place whereby you can say prayer. Now, although we went to Saudi airline, and there was a designated place, but I realized it was a small place. And because many people flying in that flight were going to Umrah, so there was not enough place for sisters to stand there. If the sisters were to stand in the same place, they'll be touching men folks. So I don't advise sisters to go to that place because there's only one small place where everybody says prayers. Provided there's more time, so you can wait, for example, when the brothers are finished, then sisters go, there's different, okay? So that is it. You can either, if you have there is an exit row or otherwise this place. If this is not available, then you just say your prayers while sitting in your seat, designated seat where you are, okay? Just sit there. But what you do, when you do first Takbiratul Ihram, at that time you are going to slightly get up on your seat, turn towards Qibla and say Allah Akbar, just sit and then continue, right? Otherwise, just facing to it. Now you are sitting here, I'm sitting on my seat, this is my seat, right? This is my qiyam, this is my ruku, slight bending, this is my sajda, and this is my sitting. Because in namaz, there are four positions. There is qiyam, standing, there is ruku, bowing down, there is sajda, prostrating, and there is qud, sitting, right? So you yourself decide, for example, that this is my standing. This is slight bowing of my head. This is my ruku. More is this my sajda, especially if I can open my tray, where you put your tray, right? The table tray. If you can open, then put your turban on that, and you can do sajda. So this is my sajda, for example, right? And maybe this is slightly, you can come forward. This is my sitting position. So this is standing, but this stand. So you can assign yourself these different positions and recite the zikr accordingly. So the zikr of qiyam, while doing like this, zikr of ruku like this, zikr of sajda down, right? And zikr of tashahhud and salam is the zikr of sitting. This is how we are going to say your prayers. Okay. This is, for example, if you don't have exit row or if you don't have a designated place. Okay. Or, for example, sometimes some stewards or people who are there, right? They are very kind and helpful. They also allow you to say your prayers at the backside where they serve, for example, where they keep those carts for when they get ready for food. So that place also there is a place. No? So sometimes they allow you. You can tell, for example, that do you allow me to say my prayers here? It will take only 5 minutes. Sometimes they allow. They understand because they have seen passengers who are Muslim doing this thing. But if they say no, don't argue. Don't argue, just say your prayers and sitting there. So keep this in mind as far as prayers are concerned. Okay. Now keep in mind, scholars differ on whether one should say the prayers in the aisles, in the washrooms, in the big washrooms, in serving corner sections, or confined to saying prayers in the designated seats. Please check with your local scholar. Some scholars have different kind of view. Most scholars believe that you are allowed to just say your prayers on your designated seat. if you can't see, for example, in exit row, if you can't see the confined place in the, then just. But some people say, no, 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 you have to go out of your way, just say in the aisle, or for example, if the washroom is big, then just if it is not dirty, then do it there. Some people believe it, but not all scholars. No, just you can check with your local scholar. Either way, what is important, it is essential that a Muslim should not face unnecessary harassment or profiling by airline crew or security officials. So for example, if you are going to say your prayers on the aisle, so they are going to, humiliate you and ask questions. When you go back or when you land, they ask the security officer to check you. Don't go through that kind of hassle. You don't need that, no? Keep in mind that salat is a personal devotion between you and Allah, right? It is our just personal communication with Allah subhanahu. So it is important that your dignity, your safety and well-being is maintained whilst you are traveling, okay? Now, that was before traveling and on board. Now we come to Madinah Munawwar. Any questions so far? So we completed the first section. That was before and on board. Okay. Now we go to next section. That is Medina. So now this is Medina you reach, right? You can see beautiful Masjid of Prophet, right? Masjid Nabawi. And this is a beautiful photo. You can see the picture, right? Inshallah, those of you who have been there, may you go again. Those who have not been there, inshallah, Allah will make you go there with safety and peace, inshallah, and enjoy every moment once you reach there. Okay. So we go now, Medina, you can see. Again, I'm not going to read this thing. I'll just pause for a few seconds. You can read. This is the hadith of the Prophet. That what are the benefits and rewards of doing the ziyarat of Rasulullah. So every day when you go there, there are ziyarat, right? Long ziyarat, short ziyarat. So of course, first time you can recite the long ziyarat, or somebody can recite and you can follow. But on your own, recite the short ziyarat of Rasulullah every day, every time you go. Not every day, every time you go. You go for Fajr prayers, when you go for Zohrain prayers, when you go for Maghrib prayers, recite this ziyarat. And the short ziyarat is what we recite on Saturdays morning. On Saturday mornings, we recite long, and then the short ziyarat. That ziyarat is beautiful. You can just recite the ziyarat of the Prophet. Make sure that you recite every time you're there. You can imagine the benefits of ziyarat, okay? So keep that in mind, that recite those ziyarat when you go there. And the best thing is start reciting now, look at the meaning so you know that what you're reciting. This is again a beautiful hadith. The sixth Imam says, one day Imam Hussein was sitting on the lap of Rasulullah. He looked up and asked, Father, what is the reward of one who performs ziyarat after you're passing away? No. That means, what is the reward of a person who recites ziyarat of Rasulullah? Rasulullah said, my son, one who performs my ziyarat after my passing away will be rewarded with paradise. One who performs ziyarat of your father after his passing away will also get Jannah. One who performs ziyarat of your brother, Imam Hassan, will also go to Jannah, right? And one who performs also your ziyarat will go to Jannah. So you can imagine in the same hadith, Rasulullah said, performing the ziyarat of this Panjatan is nothing but Jannah. May Allah give us no opportunity to go for ziyarat often and recite and perform ziyarat in such a way that we are rewarded this. No? Okay. Keep in mind that as we leave for ziyarat, Makkah and Medina, the intention is very pure. Having ikhlas is very important. Khulus, sincerity. Now, it is very important that the ziyarat should be 100% for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu, for revering the Ahlul Bayt. So when we go, for example, we are going for the sake of Allah, but we are showing our respect and reverence to the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt. For example, perform pilgrimage so that, or if somebody says, oh, I want to go to Hajj so that when I come back, people call me, oh, Haji Kumail, Haji Ali, Haji Hassan. No, not if that is the reason, this is not the best reason, right? Or for example, because my friend is going, so I also want to go for Hajj. Yeah, you can say that I'm going so that both of us can help each other, is different. But I'm going to Hajj purely because wajib on me, not because my friend is there, because my family is there, or just because I need a holiday. Instead of going to London or Switzerland, I'll go to Makkah, Medina. No, that is also not a good reason. You go purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See what Imams say on the niyat. No? The fourth Imam in Dua Makan wa Akhlaq, right in the beginning, he says, وَانْتَهِ بِنِيَّتِي لَأَحْسَنْ نِيَّةٍ. Oh Allah, make my intention to be the best of intentions. You know, whenever I do something, Allah, make that my intention to be of the best of niyat, right? The eighth Imam says, when the person goes for ziyarat, he's just, performing his bayat, his wilaya. Imam is our wali, our guardian, and we are just trying to, pay homage and respect to the imams. So that is what it is. When we do this thing, then of course, imam also become a shafaat. If we do the ziyarat of imams and prophet with intention to go and just, present ourselves, renew our pledge, our bayat, right? Then inshallah, these imams will become our shafi. That means they will become intercessors on the day of judgment. Now, this question will always come since you are going to Medina and Mecca, right? You will find this thing. Those who have been there, you know what I mean. But those who have not been there, this will always have, this is the biggest challenge you are going to face, okay? Now, can we say the Imam namaz behind Wahhabi Imam, non-Shia Imam, a Sunni Imam? The answer from all the mujtahid, past and also present, they say yes, we are allowed to say namaz behind them. There is nothing wrong with it, except that you should know the rules. So here are a few points, okay? Keep in mind. Number one, all the time of namaz is same as ours. Don't worry, except for Maghrib. Maghrib, azan is given and namaz starts before even our namaz time comes. So what should you do? If you go to the haram, and because everybody is saying namaz, you can't just be sitting there. So you can just say your namaz and say namaz with them. Either you can do your qaza if it is qaza, or you can just do the niyat, qurbat Allah, the intention that you want to just join with other Muslims. So when that prayer is over, you can then say your prayer, okay? You can start Maghrib after that, because they don't start Isha immediately. So once their prayer is over, you can immediately just say Zan Ikama slowly and say your prayers there, okay? That is for Maghrib. Now, maybe, because sometimes what happens that they are fasting, for example, on Monday or Thursday, sometimes they are fasting, right? So because of that, by the time azan is given and the namaz starts, there is a time, there is a gap. No, you have to check it. If 12 minutes have passed by before namaz starts, then you can say namaz with them, Maghrib namaz. If the Maghrib namaz has started before 12 minutes, then you can't. Okay, just say namaz with them, but repeat your namaz. So timing is concerned, but as far as Fajr and Zohr, Asr, Isha, all is fine. You can join them. Okay? Yeah, do not do the niyat of Jamaat. In other words, you are going to recite Surah Al-Hamd, other surah yourself. Okay? Everything else you are going to follow the Imam in standing up, in going to ruku, in sajda, in getting up from ruku, in getting up from sajda. You are going to follow Imam in actions, but you are going to recite also. So this is known as ittiba, okay? It's not Jamaat. Just say your prayers, just ittiba, okay? That is how it would be. And then, of course, and then what happens, the third thing most important, that when you finish your Surah Al-Hamd and other surah, they are still reciting. They are sitting in Qiyam. So you can just do zikr. Or if they're reciting a surah which you are familiar with, so after your second surah, you can just follow them. Okay, just follow them in reciting that Quran. So this is it. In the same way, for example, it is in ruku and sajda. If you find the zikr to be longer, you can say Subhan Rabbil Azim 7 times in salawat. You can say Subhan Rabbil Azim 7 times in salawat. But even after that, they are still, for example, there, then you can just do zikr the same. Okay. Okay, now of course, keeping in mind about takia, right? About on carpet. Can you say namaz on carpet? The best thing is just take a sadri, uh, uh, that mat which is made, So if you can use that thing, for example, or take some piece of thing and just attach to your musalla and just pray, right? That'd be fine. And otherwise, don't pray, but don't take turba, don't take more with you. Nor do you take what carpet. But if you think that your life is danger, if you are going to take something whereby you know that you are Shia, then you're allowed, of course, to say just do sit down the carpet. Otherwise, no. Okay. So these are some of the things which keep. I'm not going to. This is some of the lines of the what ziyarat which the fourth Imam used to recite when he went there. You can check it later on when we post this slide, because you only have 15-20 minutes before our end. Okay. This is also beautiful dua. You can see the Imam used to recite when he went to the ziyarat of Rasulullah. So keep these lines and these things, the idea that what Imam, how they used to recite. Okay. Again, this continues, the duas which Imam used to recite at the grave of Rasulullah. Okay. These are some of the pictures. This is the old house of Fatima, and this is Fadak, right? But nowadays they enclose everything. Now you cannot go there. No, they will just cordon off all Shia areas. But this was a picture of Khaybar in 1972. So it's not long ago, 1972. At that time, you can see this picture was taken. This is about the Hajj Salat, and you can download the app and say Hajj Salat. Of course. Now we come to this thing, Talbiyah, right? So now you're going to, inshallah, go to Masjid Shajara, where you're going to wear your ihram. So what you do, you can wear ihram in Medina, but don't do the niyat. Do the ghusl, wear ihram, then go to Masjid Shajara, and then once you go to Masjid Shajara, say your Maghribin prayers. Okay, after Maghribin prayers, just because you already wear ihram, just try to slightly open and close, just to adjust. For example, take the piece and just open and close it, right? And then do the niyyah that I'm wearing ihram for Umrah Tamattu, Wajib Kubat Allah, right? And then just recite Talbiyah, Labbaik, Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik, La Sharika Laka Labbaik, Inna al-hamda wa ni'mata lak wal mulk, La Sharika Laka Labbaik, right? Make sure that you recite it correctly. If you are not sure, somebody can dictate to you. It's a very simple thing. The only makhraj is ham and ayn. Right here you can see. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, inna alhamda ha, wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika laka labbaik. Okay. So this is important that you recite what, first of all, do the niyat, adjust your ihram as if you are wearing, and recite talbiyah. Once you recite talbiyah, you are in the state of haram, okay? And 25 things become haram on you. I'm sure you must have attended some of the seminars whereby this has been done, right? So make sure that now you are stay from that. Now keep in mind that we are in dire need of we are in dire need of food for human soul, because living in a lot of materialism. So this is going to help you as you go for Hajj, right? That you are going to now give food to your soul. Hajj is the best time for spiritualism. As I said, cut off from all routine, family and friends. Don't start taking pictures and start sending your friends and they send you comments and then you start. You're wasting time. My real advice is don't do that. No. Restrictions of haram, you should know that what is there. Because if you don't follow those things, there are penalties. It will be difficult, no? So this is, you are getting near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here is wearing haram, as this is it. Know that from looking at mirror, lying, swearing, quarreling, men to it, because these are some of the things which we should know at least. What is forbidden is looking at mirror, lying, swearing, quarreling with people, men to avoid shade when traveling during daytime, removing of hairs, right? Tooth or nails, and blood from the body. These are, although there are 25 things, but these are the main things which we should know about. No. So of course, this is Dr. Malina had prepared this list. It should be there on your what slide. You can check it later on. Tawaf of Umrah. Subhanallah. I was just now there. Inshallah, you'll be there soon. Okay, so this is one of the most challenging things, tawaf. Okay, so keep in mind that you maintain your cool. Okay, and your left shoulder should always be towards Khana Kaaba. So there is a green light whereby it starts what Hajar Aswad is there, where the starting point. So just before the green light, you can do the niyat. Or what you can do once you enter the tawaf area, don't do the niyat. What I would advise you, just go around, just go one round without niyat, just an empty round, right? Just do that. So just to get used to the crowd and the environment there. No? And now you can see that now you already done the thing. Now there's a green light, do the niyat and start tawaf. And make sure there are 7 rounds. Don't make mistake in those 7 rounds. There are tasbih nowadays. You can use, for example, those 7, or what you can do is recite zikr for every round, or even a surah. Say in the first round you're going to recite Surah Al-Fatiha, right? In the second round you're going to recite one kul, another kul. So you can decide to take 7 zikr or 7, for example, surahs, and those will indicate that you are doing 7. Okay, so keep in mind. In addition, I, for example, also used to use ring. For example, I've got 2 rings. So since I'm wearing 2 rings, this is my normal. This is my first round. Then I'm in the second round, so I take this ring and put in the other finger, right? But make sure that in the rush you don't drop your ring. Once you drop, it's gone. You can't take it. So whatever way, it should remind you. No, try to keep your cool and all the time. Begin literally for Hajar Aswad and always do it after. And as you are ending the last, once you are ending, once you finish the time, again when you are coming out, don't come out suddenly from Hajar Aswad, the area. Again, slowly go around and gradually come out. No, just change your lines until you are out. No, full external out. So you will do this thing as you enter get the practice. So this is Umrah Tamattu. Okay. This is the only Umrah in which you are supposed to wear ihram. But because nowadays there are restrictions, you'll be required to wear ihram for Umrah Tamattu, for Umrah Hajj, and also Tawaf Hajj and Tawaf Nisa. Otherwise, wearing of ihram clothes is only required for Umrah Tamattu, right? Because by the time you do Tawaf for Hajj, you already have done your sa'i, taksir or halak, so you can remove your ihram and go for Tawaf. But nowadays there are restrictions. If you go to the Tawaf area wearing your kandura, or you're wearing your pants, other things, not ihram, they won't allow you. So what you can do, of course, the first ihram, in the first Tawaf, you're in ihram, so just 2 pieces. But then, for example, when you go for Tawaf of Hajj and Tawaf for Nisa, right, when you do that, you can wear your underwear under, right? Because you are just wearing ihram so that you are allowed to go there. If you've already done your you've already done your halak, you've already, for example, Qurbani has been done, your halak or taksir has been done. Now you're going to Makkah from Mina to perform your tawaf. At that time, you don't need to wear ihram, but then you won't be allowed to enter the ihram area, the tawaf area. So you will just wear ihram as if just a fake ihram, right? Although underneath you can wear, for example, your clothes, there's no problem. You're just wearing ihram, so you're allowed this thing. Keep in mind. Same applies to tawaf of Hajj and tawaf of Nisa. Okay, so this is, keep in mind, this is something new. I, for example, this time was in Umrah. I put on ihram for tawaf 3 times. Although only once is required, but because I would not be allowed, I had to wear my ihram for tawaf of Umrah. I had to wear my ihram for tawaf of Nisa. I had to wear my ihram for tawaf of Wida, just to check Wida, right? I had to wear, otherwise they won't allow you. This is only for men for. For women, this is not the problem. Now, for sisters, they don't have this kind of problem. Okay. These are some of the du'as we have prepared this morning. Only I just simple du'as, beautiful du'as. So these slides will be there. You can download and try to memorize these du'as as you are flying to Jeddah. Salat after two tawaf is like morning prayers. It's done immediately after tawaf. So if your wuzu breaks, then you're allowed to go and renew your wuzu and then say namaz. But if your wuzu is still there, immediately after tawaf, you do two rakat namaz. Try to be as near as Maqam Ibrahim. But of course, there's a lot of rush, so you'll be pushed back all the way. So you can go a little far, but it should be as you can see Maqam Ibrahim as near as possible. Okay. Ensure that you're out of tawaf area. This is important. Don't try to force yourself to say tawaf, say namaz, while people are doing tawaf there. You'll be pushed back, right back and front. It's not good. You'll be so much disturbed and distracted in namaz that you can't do your sajda properly. So that's not a safe thing. You should be in a place where people are saying namaz, although it is far from Maqam Ibrahim, but it is the nearest you can do that. Okay. If you are with your friend, so maybe he can stand near you and you say namaz, and then you stand and he says namaz. Or if you are with your spouse, she says namaz, for example, you can stand there. No, you can do this thing just to protect each other. For Sahih, wuzu is not required, okay? So keep in mind, it's better to have wuzu, but if your wuzu breaks for Sahih, you can continue. So we have 5 minutes to azan time. If anybody has questions, I can continue to azan time, but if anybody has any questions. Any questions? Okay, so let's continue. So for Sahih, you don't need wudu, okay? So if the wudu is there, it's good. But otherwise, if it breaks, you don't need to go out and start finding place to do wuzu. You can continue with your Sahih, okay? There are beautiful du'as at the time of Sahih. So just try to get and read them. There are also beautiful du'as during tawaf. But I would advise you not to keep the book and start reading. There is so much rush, you can't do it. But for Sahih, you can do that. So for tawaf, what I would do is that we have included for you, for example, simple du'as here. You can see these are simple du'as, one-liner du'as. You can see I deliberately just kept simple du'as for you here. So try to memorize. Of course, the first one is the dua all of us know, which we also recite in Kunut, right? So this is the first dua, and this try to memorize this dua and recite in tawaf. But in Sahih, there are beautiful du'as. You can also keep a small booklet and start reading. There is no problem because there is not that all the time you can handle the rush. No? There are green pillars. So men folk are supposed to hasten their pace. Just jog between those two pillars for men, not for women. This is it. Try to do Sahih on the same day you do Tawaf, if possible. No. Or you can, for example, rest, for example, and then come back inside, but otherwise try to finish, okay? And once you finish your Sahih, immediately after that, you after Sahih, you do Taksir, okay? So Taksir, what is it? If you are in the state of Ihram, you can do your own Taksir, you're allowed. And then you can help others, but you can't do anybody else taksir. So you can do your own taksir. So you can take a nail cutter, for example, with you, or a small scissor, and do your own taksir. So if your spouse is with you, your wife is with you, what you do that you do your own taksir, and then you can help her, for example, just remove her hair slightly in such a way that her hijab is maintained, because there are so many people there, so it will be difficult for her or somebody else to do for it. No. So what you do your own taksir, and then just help your spouse to do taksir. Okay, that can be done. For taksir, you are allowed to do even little hair or even nail. Don't do halak. Keep in mind that halak is not supposed to be done after Tamat. Okay, halak comes only after Hajj Tamat. So this completes Umrah. Okay, after this, of course, you can remove, after taksir, you can remove your ihram clothes. You can normally do all the things that are allowed, which are not allowed, everything is allowed. Okay. The only thing is not allowed is you cannot do hunting in the haram. Of course, nobody would do that, but keep that in mind that you cannot do that. Or for example, even if there is some animals, you cannot do, we don't do this, there are not animals there, anything. But this is the only thing which is not allowed. There is no tawaf for Nisa and Umrah Tamattu. Tawaf for Nisa is only after Hajj Tamattu. So try to enjoy yourself in Makkah and rest as much as possible. Now, as I said, that perform Mustafa Tawaf has been possible. This is nowadays is difficult because if you want to do that, you have to wear a haram. Number one. Number two, keep in mind, if you do Mustafa Tawaf, two things. One is you don't have to complete 7 rounds. If there was a lot of rush and you did only 2, 3 rounds, that is also fine. You know. Second thing, other thing, for example, for Mustafa Tawaf, if your wuzu breaks, don't worry about it. You're fine, okay? You don't have to go. Only for Wajib Tawaf, wuzu required. So if your wuzu breaks, that is allowed. It's okay, you can continue doing Tawaf. Don't bother about it because it's a Mustafa Tawaf. Okay? So these are some of the books which we have recommended people to read. Any questions?
Assalamu alaikum. Can you just repeat the last part? You said in the Mustahab Tawaf, you don't need to do.
Yeah. If it is Mustafa Tawaf, it's good to complete 7 rounds and 2 rakat namaz. But if, for example, there was so much rush that you did only few rounds, you could not complete, that is fine. You still get tawaf for those few rounds. And if your wuzu, for example, breaks while you're doing tawaf, Mustafa Tawaf, don't worry, you're fine. You can complete your tawaf, but you have to do wuzu just for salat after tawaf.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you again for joining us for this webinar. I hope that it was helpful. These slides will be posted, inshallah, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, on the same on the website. Ali, if you just see Ali 70 course, and you can download the slides. Feel free to even share with others as you go there and you find other people, for example, would benefit, just share with them. And please keep us in your du'as. It is already namaz time, so I'll take your permission, inshallah. Khuda Hafiz.